Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse San Diego Comic-Con exclusive gold label Nightfall 30th Anniversary Batman. Now this is only offered at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't believe it's going to be offered in any way, shape, or form elsewhere. There was a raffle after the con. McFarlane could allow you to enter to win the figure. Well, not to win the figure, but enter to be able to possibly win a chance to purchase a figure. I entered for several of those figures and did not win a single one, as expected. So, I had to resort to eBay. I looked at a bunch of different lots of Batman and Superman figures, did some, how should we put it, aggressive negotiations, and brought it down to a price that was reasonable to me. But, if you know D Hunter, I like to get one of my Batman figures to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. And I have that covered too. Want to give a huge shout out to my boy Jason. A buddy of his won the raffle at McFarlane to purchase the Nightfall Batman, and then he sold it to Jason at cost, and Jason in turn looked out for me and sold it to me at cost. So I have that one coming, and that's going to be my unopened one, still wrapped in plastic, and this is going to be my open one. Now the Nightfall Batman is arguably McFarlane's best 6 or 7 inch Batman out there. The only issue is his gray is a little bit too light, and he could be, I don't know, 0.1 or 0.2 inches taller, and he would be absolutely perfect. This one appears to have the gray issue fixed, a little bit darker, so this could dethrone my Nightfall Batman as my favorite Batman figure, and that is a bold statement as I have so many. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, gold label collection. Typically, a McFarlane gold label figure is a retailer exclusive, whether it be Walmart, Target, McFarlane Toy Store, Amazon, etc. This one here appears to just be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, only offered that way. Maybe it'll be available at McFarlane Toy Store in the future, and if that's the case, I'll be a little annoyed I didn't wait, but it's done behind me. I also have this huge rip here, and that is very annoying. This is what I'm going to open, so it doesn't really bother me too much, but I damn sure don't remember seeing that on the eBay listing. DC Comics, age 12+, Batman, the 90s comic logo. Batman, Nightfall, 30th Anniversary, McFarlane Toys, Authenticated Limited Edition. One side of the package, Batman, Nightfall, 30th Anniversary. Other side is totally blank. At the back, we have this fantastic image from the comics. An enormous Bane breaking Batman over his knee in that infamous scene where he breaks his back. He's in the Batcave. We have the trophies in the background, the large coin, the dinosaur. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there's his barcode, in case that somehow helps anybody. So this is McFarlane's deluxe figure. It's got the outer sleeve. Go ahead and pop that open, and you can see the Batman here. He has a collector's card, display stand, alternate hands, batarang, etc. He looks great. The coloring is perfect. A little bit of sort of comic or cel shading, whatever you want to call it. Backside, just blue. So no further ado, let's open him up. And I did get both the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 85th Anniversary Superman and 30th Anniversary Nightfall Batman. Did some, how should we say, aggressive negotiations on eBay and got down to a reasonable price, and finally have them checked off my list. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, a collector's card, a display stand for the collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then a batarang. But before I take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Nightfall Batman, the San Diego Comic-Con variant. This is the epitome of a 90s Batman, exactly like he looked in the 90s, and frankly, pretty much the same way he looked in the 80s and the 70s as well. I love the outfit, the blue, the gray, the bat symbol with the yellow oval, the capsule utility belt, the tall boots, whole 9 yards. It looks great. A standard sort of Neil Adams or Jim Aparo art Batman. Looks great, what I've wanted for so many years. And I'll tell you, the recent McFarlane DC Multiverse Nightfall Batman, I pretty much consider him to be the best Batman figure that I have. And I would say, it's not every day that you get the very best Batman figure, even though I got one just a couple weeks ago, and then here he is being dethroned today. But it's the exact same figure, just painted a little bit more visually pleasing, a little bit more aimed directly from the 90s, and very specific off their art. Now personally, I'm against cel shading. I don't like it, and I was against it when I got this figure, but damn, it looks good in hand. So let's take a look. Like I said, traditional 90s Batman. When I first saw him, I didn't really like the black on the face, the sort of weird little missing piece here, a little swirl. But as a whole, it does look pretty good in hand. He's got sort of the medium ears, stern expression, kind of lean. The gray is definitely darker than the other Nightfall Batman, and we will check that out in the video. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. It all looks great. Capsule utility belt. You can see some of the shading on his trunks here. That part looks really, really subtle. Very well done. I don't know, it just looks a little bit funky up top here. I like sort of on the inside of the ears, how it's sort of black. They actually captured it very well. They nailed it with this figure. They nailed it with the first Nightfall figure, and even more with this one. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Like I said, they nailed it. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. It's the typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, very flat, very basic, but this one has the 90s comic logo on it. Looks really sharp. Then we have the collector's card with its display stand. There you have it. Giant Bane, Breaking the Bat, Batman, Nightfall, 30th anniversary. On the back side, you can see the certificate of authenticity. Now, unlike some of the previous McFarlane limited figures, this one doesn't say, I don't know, number 1578 of 5,000 or whatever. Really curious how many of these they made. I guess I will never actually know. And if you wanted to put the card into the display stand, it looks like this. Actually, it looks pretty sharp. There have not been that many figures that came with these kind of display stands for the collector's card. I can only think of, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 maybe. Now let's look at his hands. He has 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. And look at these hands. The fisted hands are way darker than the gripping hands. I don't know, something's messed up there. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. I don't know, just something about Batman holding up his fists like that. This particular Batman just strikes me as right spot on. And here he is with the second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And man, look at the hands. They fucked that up pretty bad. I don't know if it's just mine or everybody else's, but these hands are way mismatched as far as the color and paint scheme versus the other hands and the rest of this guy. That looks bad. Ooh, they messed that up horrible. And yep, they used the exact same color on the standard Nightfall Batman. Big mistake. If anyone out there has San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm sure some of you do, let me know if yours is like this, or if yours match. Now for his Batarang. Pretty basic Batarang. This is how it looked in the 90s. Although, I'm pretty sure it looked the same back in the 70s. It looks similar to the 1966 Adam West Batarang. Here's Batman holding and getting ready to throw his Batarang. Now I want to check out this San Diego Comic-Con Nightfall Batman variant next to the original version and see just which one is better. The original one is a fantastic figure, but you can't say that the gray is not a little bit too light, and the new one has completely corrected that. Personally, I was opposed to the sort of cell shading type stuff, but it looks pretty damn good in hand. The new one dethrones the old one. Now it is 100% the same figure, exact same sculpt, exact same articulation, just a little bit of a different paint job. The differences will be, of course, the head here, the different shade of blue throughout the figure, lighter on him, the different shade of gray throughout the figure, lighter on him, and then this guy has a sort of cell shading on the cowl, a little on the neck, on the trunks. It is the exact same figure, but man, that gray is what we needed the first time around. Although, having 2 Batman figures like this, both from Nightfall, in my headcanon, I'll probably use this one here as Bruce Wayne in that Batsuit, and this one here as Jean-Paul Valley in that Batsuit. Now they're taking a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at 7 inches tall. If you go to the top of the ears, about 7.25 inches tall, which is going to be just a little bit over 18 centimeters. Now for his articulation, start with his head here. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down about that much. Pretty good range of motion. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between shoulder and chest area. Increase the range of motion. Then he's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. In his torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back, but just a little bit. In his waist, he has another ball joint, rotate around, forward and back quite a bit more. Between the two, very wide range of motion. Not nearly as much from the torso as from the waist. Legs, complete as the splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation, decent on him. Legs go forward about that much, kind of go to the side, they go forward a little bit more. Back, not much. Double jointed knees, and then his ankle, forward and back. Tilt, rock, rotate, and of course, to articulation. And here are all three variations of the Nightfall Batman that I have. We have the new San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the original version, and then the one that I forearm swapped to give the claws, Jean-Paul Valley. It starts off with Batman at the Batcave. He's doing some research at the Batcomputer. He spent the last month or two trying to track down all the different rogues. Bane broke every single Batman villain out of Arkham Asylum. Batman has been hunting them down one by one. He's getting weaker and weaker. Bane has been watching him, learning how he fights, learning his skills, his tactics, how to take him down. Bane surprises Batman at the Batcave. In the comics, Bane is extremely intelligent. He was one of the few rogues to actually deduce and figure out who Batman actually is. Here's Bane after he hit his Venom button. He's jacked up and ready to fight, and Batman is at his weakest point ever. It's in this moment that Bane lifts Batman clear over his head. Bane then lifts up one knee and proceeds to break the bat. Bane brings Batman's broken body to the center of the city, goes on to the highest rooftop and lifts him over his head. He then says, "I am Bane. This city is mine. Batman is no more. I have destroyed him. I rule these streets. I rule Gotham. Here's your hero, your protector. Take him and bury him." And then throws Batman off the roof. Batman lands on the ground, surrounded by GCPD officers. Bullock, Montoya, Gordon, and some other cops are looking down at this broken Batman, wondering if he'll ever stand or move again. An ambulance comes, picks up Batman, takes him away. Little do the police know, it's actually Alfred and Jean-Paul Valley taking Bruce Wayne back to the Batcave. After Bruce Wayne had his back broken, they realize Gotham City still needs a Batman. Alfred and Tim Drake ask Jean-Paul Valley if he can fill in for Batman. Here's Jean-Paul Valley first putting on the Batsuit. Over time, he upgraded the suit, added the claws, and eventually, he makes a full armored suit. Before he has the full armored suit, he hunts down some of Bane's henchmen from Nightfall. Here's Jean-Paul Valley taking on Zombie, Trog, and Bird. Later, after Jean-Paul's been Batman for a little while, he develops his armored suit and takes on Bane. He starts off by launching batarang discs all over Bane, sticking them into his skin and flesh. After a long, drawn-out bloody fight, Azrael has beaten Bane. He has the upper hand. He's about to strike that killing blow, and right before he kills Bane, he stops, drops him down, and says, "No, I'm not going to kill you. Blackgate Prison can hold the pieces. You are broken, Bane." And then Gordon watches and thinks, maybe it is still the same Batman. Now let's check him out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Nightfall figures. Here's this San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Nightfall variant, next to the original version. San Diego one just blows that one away, and that first one was really good. I did get 2 of the regular Nightfall Batman, and I got 2 of the Azrael Batman armor about a year ago, saved him for just this occasion, did a forearm swap, took the pins out, and then gave this Nightfall Batman the claws. So it's one on the far right is Jean-Paul Valley wearing the suit. As he's starting to upgrade, he had the claws for a couple of issues before he had the entire armored suit. Here he is, next to Azrael in his Batman armor, another Nightfall figure. Then, next to the Nightfall purple suit Catwoman, here's the Nightfall Batman next to Bane. Now technically this Bane figure is not from Nightfall, he's actually from the Rebirth comics, but his look hasn't changed much over the years. Take that harness off his chest, and you damn near have a Nightfall Bane. It would shock me if McFarlane doesn't make a 2-pack Nightfall Batman versus Bane. Maybe a little bit bloodied up, beat up Batman. Bane without the harness. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Here's McFarlane's entire official Nightfall lineup. These are all the figures officially labeled Nightfall, and they can make so many more, and I hope they do. We have 2 different variations of Catwoman, the purple suit and the Platinum Chase gray suit variant. That is not accurate to anything in the Nightfall comics, but it's still a cool variant. Then we have the standard Nightfall Batman, San Diego Comic-Con Nightfall Batman, and Azrael Batman armor. These middle 3 and Hell Catwoman 2 are a fantastic group of figures. But in my opinion, these are all the figures that should be dubbed Nightfall. Some slight alterations and Bane would fit in just fine. Don't get me wrong, this Bane is way too big to be a scale-appropriate Nightfall Bane. He was never this big, even on Venom. But we all know how McFarlane does scale. They'd have no problem putting this guy out and calling him Nightfall Bane. Here he is, next to the DC Direct, DC Essentials Nightfall Batman. It's that same traditional look that I love. Gray and blue suit, yellow oval around the signal, capsule utility belt. His gray is even a little bit darker than his. I'd say it's probably about the most accurate with this guy. This DC Direct one isn't a fantastic figure. I've always been a fan. But the McFarlane one, this guy's dethroned everything as far as I'm concerned. My favorite Batman figure in the 6 or 7 inch scale. Articulation, sculpt, it's all just very well done. Is it perfect? No. I can point out plenty of things wrong with it, but I like it a lot. Now, these figures both look very good. He has the sort of black in the front of the cowl, which I have mixed feelings on. He doesn't, but looks a lot more sort of traditional, basic, kind of plain. They just both did an excellent job capturing a regular 90s Batman. DC Direct made this a 2-figure wave in their DC Essentials line. Nightfall Batman and Nightfall Catwoman. Both excellent releases, but a shame it was just the 2 of them. And many years before that, DC Direct made a full wave of Nightfall figures. Nightwing, Azrael, Catwoman, Bane, and then Bruce Wayne as a Mask of Tango Batman. Very solid wave, but what was missing was a traditional 90s Batman, just like McFarlane delivered. Here's his Nightfall Batman, next to the Hush Batman. I'd say before the Nightfall Batman, the Hush Batman was the best Batman figure McFarlane has made. Possibly my favorite Batman figure out there. He's just a little bit too large, as I would argue the Nightfall Batman might be a little bit too small. The Nightfall Batman is just about 7 inches the top of his head, a little bit taller with his ears, and I should say that is exactly the scale the line should be. Batman should be 7 inches tall, Superman 7, 7.1. But as the line has continued on, some of the figures have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This Hush Batman is something like 7.4 inches tall, which is a big difference. Bruce Wayne himself is, I don't know, 6'2" or something like that. And in 7-inch scale, a 7-inch figure, exactly 7 inches tall, should be about the size of a 6-foot man. So 7.4 inches, a little bit too big for Batman. But 7 inches, as a Nightfall Batman is a little bit too small, just because of the other figures around him have gotten so big. McFarlane definitely has scaling issues. I'm not very picky, so I'm cool. DC Direct, Mattel, Hasbro, they all have the same type of issues within their own lines. If you argue that point, you're delusional. Every single line out there has scale issues, internal scale issues, and it sucks. Very noticeable on some figures like this. But as a whole, like I said, I'm not very picky. Throw them all together and I'm cool. But I can see the same thing in Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black, Mattel DC Universe Classics. All their lines have very similar scaling issues among themselves. McFarlane just seems to get picked on and shit on the hardest. And don't get me wrong, look right in front of you. It's right there. I'm not saying it's not there. But they all have it. Here's this Batman, next to the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin. Now this figure was FUBAR'd, but it's done on the body that's going to be the traditional green, red, and yellow Tim Drake Robin. That's coming out pretty soon. But look at him next to the Nightfall Batman. He's a little bit bigger than him. Tim Drake should be much smaller. This is a prime example of the scaling issues. Tim Drake here should be a little bit smaller than Batman, and now when the green trim Drake comes out, he's not going to fit with the Nightfall Batman the way we wanted him to. Scaling issues all across the line. In my opinion, Batman, that's how the scaling should be. Robin should be a little bit smaller than this Batman. This Batman should be sort of the baseline of a pretty large male figure. Instead, they're all over the place. It's like McFarlane has 3 different scales: small, medium, and large. Here are 6 different McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, all with a blue and gray bat suit, all with a yellow oval around the bat symbol. They all look pretty nice, especially in a group here. Here he is, next to several different McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. These are all from the early days of the line and all from the comics. Then, with some more McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. These are all from the comics, a little more recent. And now, with some more McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. These are all from different various forms of media, video games and movies. Now let's check them out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Nightfall Batman, next to the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 85th Anniversary Superman figure. The Superman figure is bizarre, half red, half blue. A lot different than the Nightfall Batman. The Nightfall Batman would be great fighting amongst your other Batman characters, looking good in action-figure photography and different dioramas. Superman is just sort of a display piece, not really going to work interacting with other figures or in action scenes. Both very cool, but the Nightfall Batman, way the fuck cooler. And here he is, next to the Dark Knight's Metal, Alan Scott Dread Lantern. This guy's also a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but I ordered mine through CMD Store, and I wish I was able to order my Batman through them as well. Then, next to the recent Target exclusive Superman vs. Doomsday 2-pack. Doomsday is to Superman in Death Return of the Superman, as Bane is to Batman in Nightfall, Night Quest, and Night's End. Here's this Batman, next to some recent Target exclusive Gold Label figures. We have the Jokerized Dark Knight Returns Batman, the Jokerized Dark Knight Batman, the Jokerized Dark Knight Joker, and then Sinestro Corps Batman and Flash War Impulse. And here he is, next to the recent Target exclusive Flashpoint Wave. We have the Flashpoint Aquaman, Project Superman, and Flash. And here, next to the recent Injustice 3-pack, Batman, Supergirl, and Dr. Fate. Then, next to some recent Walmart exclusive Gold Label figures, we have the Vampire Joker, Batman and Superman, Captain Atom, Eradicator, and Beast Boy. And now, next to the goofy head sculpt Rebirth Superman vs. Ultraman 2-pack. Then, with the most recent Batman wave, we have the Nightfall Batman, Batman Incorporated Batwing, and the Batman Reborn Two Faces Batman. Here's this Batman, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Black and White Accent Superman and Flash. And here he is, next to the 5th wave of Page Punchers. This is a Batman-themed wave, fighting the Frozen. Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and Mr. Freeze. There's a Platinum Chase variant of Batgirl out there, and I'm on the hunt for her. Then, with some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label figures, we have Superman in his Unchained Armor, the Patina variant, Kyle Rayner Blue Lantern, and Dick Grayson Robin. And now, next to the entire Flash movie wave, here's Batman, next to the Titans wave, Collective Build Beast Boy, and finally, next to the 2 most recent McFarlane Mega figures, Calabac and Fulcrum Abominus. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller, and I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Here he is, next to some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's Batman, next to a bag of cat food. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA Batman figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, standing next to some Mezco 112 Collective Batman figures. Then, with some Mattel, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse Batman figures. And here he is, with some Mafex Batman figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this San Diego Comic-Con exclusive variant of the Nightfall Batman is absolutely fantastic. If I said the previous Nightfall Batman was my favorite 6 or 7 inch scale Batman out there, That's a very bold statement, and this guy has dethroned him. The only issues with this guy, I feel like the gray could still be a little bit darker, but I'm really happy with how it looks. The cell shading, you know what? I think I actually like it. At first I didn't, and I was very resistant, but it looks good. But I wouldn't mind a variation without the sort of black on the face and a totally blue cowl. That would look really cool. Now, sculpt, paint job, absolutely fantastic. No issues there. Articulation, great. Accessories, batarang, whatever. The alternate hands. I prefer to use the gripping hands because they can double fists and hold stuff. They are mismatched. They came with the wrong Nightfall color version. I really want to know if it's just me or if everyone has that problem. And if everyone does, that fucking sucks. It takes this figure that was probably going to be a 9 out of 10 and push it down to 8.5. So, if I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give it an 8.5. He probably would have got a 9 out of 10, but those damn hands bring him down. He also should be just a tiny bit taller. I mean a tiny bit, like 0.1, 0.2 inches taller. I think this is the scale the entire line should be, but the line is sort of mismatched. It's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And then when they release stuff that's sort of in line with how it originally was, it looks too small. This guy looks too small because the figure's around him. For 7-inch scale, he's perfect. For McFarlane DC Multiverse, he feels too small. But next to some of them, he's perfect. Next to other ones, he's too small. 7-inch scale, perfect. This is how the entire line should be, but some figures are enormous. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.